Brad. Good morning. Good morning. How are you, boss?
Hello, hey Juan, how are you doing? I'm
Good,
doing great.
good. So are you the founder? Are you the communications lead? Give me a little bit of rundown about what your role with Webaverse is.
Sure, I'm one of the late co-founders. I'm the most non-talented person in the team. I do all the non-talented work, which includes like talking to people and everything else. I'm basically not the dev in the team.
Hey, listen, there is always a need for this, and I'm super excited that you are able to join us here today, and thank you so much. But I've seen Webaverse talked about a whole bunch. You sent me a video yesterday. You're getting notoriety from some big names within the space, and you guys have your mint coming up. But before we get into all the kind of details regarding that, can you give me and us kind of an overview about what Webaverse is?
Sure. So Webaverse started off, VR geeks and nerds thinking about the metaverse way before any of the metaverse hype, right? And the idea was that, okay, how do we build something which does not result into a dystopian future, right? Um, at the same time, how do we build something which is fun? So first, I'll tell you what the longer term vision is. The longer term vision of us is that you might have seen Dolly. The longer term vision is that literally like Dolly, you can just like give it a prompt, and end to end worlds are created with AI NPCs in them, and we see the metaverse as a tool of infinite expression and freedom. Um, what it has translated into in the short term is that we have built our own game engine on the web. Why on the web? Because we believe the web is the most democratic medium. You don't go through any app store, etc., etc. Also, we have built it specifically to be cross-platform, cross-medium. It works on your desktop, laptop. We're going to optimize it. It works fine on your mobile. It already works in VR. We have AR features coming up, etc. as well. That is our game engine layer. 100% open source, no risk of deplatforming. We saw the news from Minecraft. Tomorrow it could be Unity. Tomorrow it could be Unreal. We believe that the open metaverse needs to be built on open foundations. On top of the game engine layer is a platform layer, so kind of like like Roblox, for user-generated content in the form of avatar, weapons, wearables, pets, vehicles, whole worlds, environments, gameplay scripting, and that's where we use you know next gen AI features as well. You might have seen some of our videos which we have posted. We have like fully functioning AI NPCs. Anything in the world could be an NFT, an avatar, weapon, or anything. Right now, we use any EVM based chain, L1 or L2. Soon we'll have cross chain compatibility as well. Super easy to build stuff within Webaverse. You can literally like just drag and drop stuff within, connect your wallet, bring your NFTs in. Our system automatically generates a collision mesh. Physics is automatically applied, and the idea is that you can build spaces within Webaverse within hours on one hand, and if you want customization, you have total freedom to do that as well. On top of that, the platform layer we're launching with Upstreet. The idea about Upstreet is that it's built up of like different worlds. Anyone has total freedom over these worlds. It could be different art style, different gameplay. We do provide actually, procedurally generated worlds with biomes, etc. But you can keep it, you can terraform it, you can replace it with something new. Um, and yeah, you can token gate it, you can monetize it, and it's part of one larger story of Upstreet. So unlike Decentraland, Sandbox, etc., which don't have a story element to it, in our case, there is a loose lore, and that's where we also use our AI RPG engine. The idea is that your stories can also be part of the evolving story of Upstreet, right? Like the world which you are building. So think of it this way, that if you're in a Marvel or a DC universe, every character has their own storyline, but it's part of one larger universe, which is the idea of what we have been building.
So
We've been in open alpha since January of 21. The idea is that we've been constantly building on top of it, and you might have seen some of the videos which we have shared of like people already building on our platform, and some of these experiences are quite dope. And I would say that they're like as comparable to what you would get on other user-generated content platforms like Roblox or VR Chat, etc.
It sounds almost too good to be true. That when I was going over everything, I'm like, okay, you guys literally have every component of it. But when we're scrolling through the site, and I guess one of my first questions is, you're saying that people are able to integrate their NFT, and you kind of highlight WASI's, BAYC, and CloneX, which I think are some of the bigger projects out there, but is it like literally any NFT? Does it have to have a specific metadata? Is it something where you guys are working with
Yeah,
like AI that can tell the picture and then create this stuff? Like it sounds crazy.
no. Of course, it needs to be in a certain metadata format. You need to have, but we work with all with like standard file formats. So the idea was that with this Upstreet launch as well, and that's what actually the NFT is. The NFT is that unlike you, so there's no like scarcity of land per se in the metaverse, right? So that's not the idea. But of course, with the NFT, you can go and you can claim lands. But the idea is that Upstreet progresses in seasons. Every season has two phases. One is a development phase, and one is a gameplay phase. In the development phase, we help the community build their experiences, whether it's a character, whether it's an avatar. We tell them that how to do it, and we've been doing it quite. We actually have been doing it even right now. But the idea is that how do you build it? What kind of standard metadata to use? How do you put it into an NFT, right? Like for example, right now it's CloneX. Already they have come up with the 3D file format, but how what would be the right metadata to be used? And those are the things which we are excited about working in our next phase together, and that's after the NFT drop.
So let's talk a little bit about the drop, some of the perks with it. I know that you guys are going to get land that you're able to build on and some other perks, but how is the allow list, raffle list? I know that you guys have kind of the registration open right now, but I know that you had to kind of register before or be through like a certain way of entering. So can you give us just kind of a breakdown if anybody's wanting to get into Webaverse that's trying to follow along with how the mint works?
Yes. So the first thing is that we have been, like talking about our mint for a long time. So we have been distributing allow list spots quite graciously to, either builders or, anybody who like came for the collab project, or like literally anyone who was interested in the space, right? So these are the people who are already on our allow list. That's done. Like their wallet addresses have been collected. Furthermore, we also provided opportunity to 20 collections, which includes uh, Basie as well as Mutant Daves, etc. And it was that the holders of these collections, the snapshot was taken around uh, July of 19th. I can share the exact with you as well. So whatever address had one of these collections in, you can go on our drop side and you can register. The registration ends tomorrow. You can register, and 150 guaranteed spots is dedicated for each collection, or each of these 20 collections, the allow list. The way the mint works is that after all of this is done, then the allow list and the raffle list minting begins, which is between August 6th and August 8th. Um, it's at a flat price of 0.2 E. Um, and then after that, on August of 9th, a fair price clearance capped auction begins, which is a public sale. And the idea is that it's going to be more than 0.25 ETH, but it's going to be capped at 2 ETH. Since it's fair price, everybody actually pays the same price for the public auction, which is like whatever is going to be the clearance price. So as soon as the auction reaches 2 ETH, it's going to end, or whatever would be the top qualifying bids will pay the lowest floor price. That's how the auction has been designed.
Okay.
Um, and in terms of what the NFT gets, the NFT basically, you're part of our ecosystem. You can claim lands with it. We provide you a metaverse toolkit with it, which could be avatars, which could be game dev assets, and we have some exciting 3D experimental NFTs as well, which think of it like like the next generation of like generative art, right? I mean, like an art blocks if it ends up, but more in context of immersive spaces, 3D mediums, which where we think is the meta is going to be.
The access to the AI tech, you messaged or mentioned DALI
Right.
earlier, and I think that, for myself, I've been kind of paying attention to a project called Altered State Machine, where they're also doing AI, and I think that, we haven't hit that stage yet where AI is really a huge component within NFTs, but it's going to be something I think where if a company or
So
NFT
we
has that.
already have it, right? You might have seen a demo. Sorry to cut you here, but you
No,
might
you're
have
good,
seen
you're
a
good.
demo. I shared this link with you. I mean, our AI is like our AI NPCs, they're just like too good, right? Like our avatar already has a text to speech, speech to text functionality, which basically means that I can upload my audio, or I can upload your audio of
The
like 30
starting
minutes, and
question
the
was
character will have that voice. I can type it out and the character can say it in it. I can say anything, and I can have a transcoder, the audio could be different. We have a camera driven character control coming soon, so kind of like VTubing but within the
now
game.
I know what you're thinking. Is he really
And I
using that
shared
scarf
this
to
link
hide
with
the
you.
fact
It's
that
all
Travis
public. It's part of our Twitter post. Our AI NPCs, you just give it a backstory, a lore, and it becomes an evolving AI NPC within the world. And soon we'll have them platformless, which means that they don't just exist within Webaverse; they can exist within other games, other mediums, etc. as well.
It's really kind of cool. And I mean, so you guys have the NFT drop. Once that happens, what's kind of like the follow-up steps? Because I know like for example, just using your guys like auction as an example, Doodles dropped the Genesis boxes, and then there's been kind of like nothing you've been able to do with those NFTs, for the past several weeks, months. I don't even know how long it's been, but for you guys with the NFT, is it kind of like extra access to stuff right away, or what's the kind of the immediate benefits of buying it, or is most of that kind of a little bit down the road?
No, no, it's going to be immediate. I mean, the fun starts right after. I mean, we'll need some time for a breather, etc.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, of course, of course.
but because we have been building this for years, we never capitalized on NFTs and all, and we are specifically launching at this point in time. We didn't want to launch at the peak hype because we don't feel that that's the best place to find like a great community. I think this is like the right levels. You have like the right people left in the space who are really interested for longer term. That's the whole idea, is that with the NFT we actually get the community together, because like the NFT is just is about like forming a community, right? And with this community we actually start building um, quite a lot of good stuff. But I'll give you one alpha here. It's not just about building the metaverse experience. It's also that we'll be airdropping a lot of like collectibles, which I mentioned, like generative arts, etc. So we really think of the community as like our extended community in the mission of an open, fun, decentralized metaverse.
It's really cool that you guys have this kind of entire thing. I think the mindset's also something to note if you guys didn't want to launch at the time that you did. But in the same breath, I think that for a lot of us, we're looking, or for the genuine NFT collector, we're looking at a lot of different collections out there, and the word metaverse is thrown out a lot. So, what do you think makes Webaverse different than a lot of these other ones out there, and why should people be paying attention to what you guys are doing?
Sir, anything else does not excite me. I mean, just go and I look at our Twitter. First of all, we've been building in the open. Everything is there. I just shared this link with you. You'll see interoperability at its finest, 2D to 3D to VR. People are already building cool stuff. So, this is like literally a vision of the metaverse. Uh, like when I came in and I started talking to Webverse, I joined in as a late co-founder, and I started talking to my co-founder earlier, and it was the vision of the metaverse which excited me. Everybody else was like building a game and this and that, and I was like, okay, we have like 100 other games. What is exciting here, right? this is about like a vision of the metaverse which is like of infinite creative potential, right? And we're also not too far away from what I told you, right? Like just like the dolly for 3D. I think like we have architected a platform in such a way, and the way things are moving, that I'm really looking forward to, where it's almost like magic that you say things and they appear, right? And yeah, that I would say is the thing. The other stuff is, what makes us different. Nobody is as open as us. Like, everybody is using open metaverse right now as as a marketing thing, just like play to earn was last year. No, I don't know, like if you ask people like what is an open metaverse, oh, some place where we can use our NFTs. Well, that is literally equivalent to um, saying that you can use URLs on a web page, right? um, so I think, in that sense, we are truly open. What it means is that from a user perspective, just like you say, not your keys, not your coins. From that perspective, we can't drug you. Your data is, we provide a frictionless right of exit, because we build everything on standard file formats. You can actually forecast. You can host your own on your own server, and then for our NFT holders, we'll also be providing some of our cutting edge, the AI stuff and all, like the commercial license to it. And we'll basically, the idea is that they will have first priority to it, before we open source it a few, like weeks, months down the line. That's the idea of how we've been.
So I'm just checking out your Twitter here, and for anyone that's tuned in here, this on the screen is a multitude of the different projects that you can take part in the raffle for the allow list for. But I'm curious, Ahad, for the partnerships, if you guys kind of like have any specifically with other projects, companies, et cetera, et cetera. Do you have anything that's kind of bigger in that realm, or is this kind of, hey, if you own these collections, you're just wanting to attract those NFT collectors?
So I think many of the major collections, we are in talks with them. Like for example, Forgotten Runes, and others as well. We didn't want to do any partnerships. The whole idea was, guys, this is our NFT. You have our NFTs. That's it. And for some people, for some projects, it's actually the projects who are going in and having our NFTs. For some people, it's the holders. For In some cases it's the holders, in some cases it's the treasury, right? So we've purposefully stayed away from any official partnerships. We've been helping out and we've been working with a lot of projects in the back end, but we haven't, like, I would say, uh, done any official partnerships, because the idea was that with this mint everyone gets, like, like a fair chance, and that's why it's all public.
It's cool. So, give me the breakdown about why you guys chose these collections in specific to kind of attract.
Yeah, so we just feel that these collections, because as I said, right, like we are very actively distributed the allow list, and we just feel that like these collections are quite active, right? So it was about like getting people from these active collections in. I mean, initially we thought about like basically including stuff like Decentraland or Sandbox, but most of the holders there is just not very active. So yeah, that was the rationale of like picking up these collections. Some of these collections are also there because we partnered with Metadrop for a drop, and Metadrop actually ran some of these others, like for example, Wassies, Interleave, Raid Party. That's why they're there.
Okay, no, I I love it. I think it's kind of cool that you guys do that. As somebody who holds at least one of these collections, it's like, ew, it's interesting that you're getting targeted for that. You almost feel kind of special in a way for that. But I mean, okay, so you guys have been building up kind of a community and working on the infrastructure and everything for quite some time. after mint of the NFT, what's kind of next? What's the team kind of thinking? Okay, here's the next step for it, or is it just kind of improving what's already out there?
So it'll be in parallel. Right now, as I told you, right, like we've been in open alpha since Jan 21. All the features are now there. It's about, like making sure that all the bugs are fixed, and we move towards optimization and scalability. But what's just going to happen is that we are going to start working on creating other experiences within Upstreet, right? Like, so all of these holders, they will actually be, uh, like we will actually, as I told you, right, like we will be helping them build the experiences, so step by step. And these could be, we have built Upstreet in such a way that it's a wacky place. When you move from one world to the other, it could be a different art style, different gameplay. And we literally built in such a way that it's, you could build applications across different verticals of like social, entertainment, gaming, or even education, right? So it's purposefully designed to be a game world, but which has like, just like a real world, right? Like you have some utility based use cases as well, and you have some entertainment based use cases as
Okay. Spicy. I mean, the let me ask you, just as kind of like a, we'll call it in the space NFT collector, take the the late founder off for a second. What do you think is going to be some of the next catalysts to bring people into the space? Obviously, the other day we had the Solana wallet hack that a lot of people thought that it was a Solana protocol overall. We've had a ton of issues with exchanges, bridges, the Nomad bridge getting hacked. We had Ronin a while ago. There's a lot of kind of uncertainty about crypto, but how do you feel? And I mean, even if you want to talk about the team a little bit, how is your kind of perspective of like the future of Web3?
so. See, we are very bullish on Web3, right? Like we were bullish on Web3 3 years ago. My co-founder built like 3D NFTs like 2.5 years ago. He was experimenting with them, right? Like his game items. Um, very simply put, we see a world which is going to be much more digital, and especially with AI and all. I think the role of NFTs is going to be extremely important because content is going to be infinite. So in that case, the ability to have content which is attributed to certain brands, certain artists, etc., I think is just like a very necessary thing. Otherwise, like a few different big tech which have all the AI power in the world, they can just be creating that content by themselves. They don't even need these network effects of social media platforms which exist today. For example, right now you have TikTok users which are building these TikTok videos, but if you just take Dolly and like right now, if it's 1 frames per second, you take it to like 30 frames per second, you just have like AI generated videos, right? So in that case, we just see that NFTs are definitely a need. In terms of the bull market case for NFTs, um, I think gaming is the biggest vertical which is going to bring in most users in. Uh, but games which are not, like relying on quote unquote Ponzinomics, games which are like just games, and there are certain elements which are like have NFTs incorporated into it. That is, and I'm pretty much, very much, I would say, bullish on that. Um, the other thing is that I think NFTs are still fine. They will keep on growing at a steady rate. We shouldn't expect anything crazy like last year, right? Like last year, we were like in a low risk, low macro environment, and to be honest, it wasn't even sustainable, right? Uh, I think NFTs are doing quite well even right now. Like the projects which are in the space, they're doing quite well, and now actually we'll start see more quality projects because the market is not just like, it's going to be evolution as well. Other thing which I personally think is that because of the tech, and that since it's all digital, right, like unlike traditional art space moves slow. I think the meta in NFT space is going to move very fast. We started off with, like, for example, PFP projects. From PFP, we moved to some memes, and then we moved to some gaming. I think the meta is going to move very fast, and all of these different phases will have different grails associated with it, right? Like for example, soon we will start seeing like Dolly based art, which will of course eclipse all the art made by human beings as well. So yeah, that's what we, and that's kind of exciting as well, right? Like because it just shows evolution of art and tech, which will be happening right in front of us.
So, Ahad, as we're wrapping up here, is there anything you want to leave people with about what they should know specifically about Webaverse, the Mint, kind of just a kind of closing piece here of everything they need to know?
Uh, no, I would say that just visit our Twitter, look at our pinned tweet. It has all the details. Other than that, guys, let's build the open fun metaverse together. That's so fun.
Yeah, I love it. Way to send it off on a good note. Thank you so much for joining me today, and obviously best of luck with the Mint, and excited to see kind of the Webaverse really come alive here.
Thank you so much, Juan, for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right, we'll talk soon. Peace, peace.